Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I believe that the market is starting to figure out that the SEC never really had any intention of trying to say that XRP is currently a security or that moving forward it's a security. I believe the market is starting to figure that out. Just my opinion. XRP is now at 58 cents. Remember, before this SEC filing, this market had gotten, XRP had gotten on up around 70 cents when this market started to take off. I have always believed that there are forces that are intentionally, probably pro-Bitcoin forces that are intentionally trying to knock XRP down anytime it starts to do what it inevitably is going to do, which is jump Bitcoin, because that would be the death of Bitcoin. But remember, XRP had gotten about to 70 cents. The returns were starting to go crazy compared to even Bitcoin and all of that. And that's when it got hit with the SEC lawsuit. There are no coincidences. Now, here's part of the reason I think the market's starting to figure this out. Today, CoinDesk, remember this weekend we had gone over what Jeremy Hogan, the attorney, had said about the SEC Ripple hearing that they had the other day, or the conference that they had. And basically what he said was that the attorney for the SEC came out and said, this only, the sales of XRP, saying that the sales were a security, only applies to Ripple and their employees. Thus, according to Jeremy Hogan, releasing these exchanges so that they could say, well, okay, well, we're not under the threat of that now that we have that on the record. So now CoinDesk has picked it up. The magistrate judge in the SEC's case against Ripple has made comments that should leave blockchain firm feeling pretty good, says an observing lawyer, and they're referencing Jeremy Hogan. So there's the article. So of course I retweeted it and said #relist XRP, because that is what I think that a lot of these exchanges will begin to do. Okay, there's Real XRP Boy put out 2 or 3 old clips from Ripple. 2 of them are Chris Larson, and another one is a guy talking about Codius. I want to show you these. It puts things in perspective and shows you the way that Chris Larson and Ripple were thinking in the early days.
For the aspiring entrepreneurs in the audience, many of whom are thinking about taking a plunge into a very complicated regulatory and banking landscape and dealing with a very new technology, any words of advice or thoughts that you'd want to share for a friend or a fellow entrepreneur?
Well, you just go you don't kind of wait for permission. You guys just gotta run with it, and some of the stuff can be worked out later. If you tried to button up all the regulatory issues before you did anything, you wouldn't do anything, especially in fintech. There's just no roadmap, and no one's ever going to give you a clear answer anyway. So you kind of got to get there first, and then figure out how you're going to settle in. So I think that's one thing. Also, B2B, keep in mind, B2B is going to have a lot less regulatory headaches. So consider some of that. The consumer stuff is going to go front and center to kind of all the hairy issues in fintech, and there are so many. You get into trouble pretty easily. As you get bigger. Again, early on, you're going to have a lot of free space. Later on, when you get bigger, how these guys are, that's when you got to get chief compliance officers and controllers and chief risk officers, and all the heavy stuff starts.
Okay, and then there was this one also from Real XRP Boy. Here's Chris Larson again.
The thing that we learned about regulation, it's not logical. It doesn't work in a way that we would predict or we would think makes any sense. It kind of depends on who grabs it first. So if the SEC grabs it, or the CFTC grabs it, or CFPB grabs it first, or the Fed grabs it, there's completely different outcomes, and it's kind of random, unfortunately. So the industry can kind of move in one direction, which is probably CFTC is a pretty good option. CPP would be okay. Fed would be awesome, but that's probably just not going to happen. So.
Okay, and then there was this. Now this one's about Codius. Listen to what this guy says about Stefan Thomas and Codius. And remember what Codius is. Remember how this all unfolded, folks. Vitalik Buterin, who created Ethereum, was sleeping on Stefan Thomas's couch. Then he leaves and decides to go start Ethereum. Meanwhile, I believe Ripple were already either before or after that, were already developing Codius. I think that that Vitalik Buterin jumped the gun with proof of work. I've always felt like that. I think you're seeing that he knows that now because he's trying to do Ethereum 2.0. But I think that Vitalik Buterin has been checkmated all along, and all indicators are that Codius is what now is Flare and Flare Finance, in my opinion. But who knows? But I'm just saying, I think it's a real possibility. Listen to this.
I mean, the technology that underlies Codius is pretty remarkable. In fact, I'm very familiar with cryptography, and there are very few people that know more about cryptography than that I run into. And Stefan really is, created this incredible, that he exploited some techniques that very few people know about in creating Codius. So from a technology point of view, it's like a 10 compared to, if you consider ACH being a 1. I mean, it's like so far advanced. So, I mean, it's really remarkable in terms of, what you can do with it and the underlying technology that it's built upon. It's really, tour de force.
So, the idea is supposed to be that Ripple they just abandoned Codius and it's no longer. I find that hard to believe, especially with the way that people were talking about it even back then. Okay. Then there was this from Mickey B. Fresh. He's showing a clip from Thinking Crypto's interview with Joel Katz with David Schwartz from Ripple.
Well, so the original idea behind Codius was to build a DeFi platform that did not have a native token, that could accept payment with any token, where you were basically paying for entities to run smart contracts using any token at all. And the idea was that if you had an automated platform where you could do that, then the people who would be actually running the smart contracts would generally not even know what smart contracts they were running. They would be chosen randomly, and they would have no incentive to try to game the contract because the contract would be distributed. And we used some very clever cryptographic tricks to reduce the sort of pain point that you would have. So the pain point that you would have is like if you're writing a smart contract and you're actually paying for its execution, the more servers that run it, the more it's going to cost you if you're paying for their execution. But the fewer servers that run it, the more likely it is that someone might gain control of a small number of those, a small number of servers, but that's a large number of your servers, and that they could then, steal your funds because the keys would be distributed across those servers. And we came up with some very, very clever cryptography tricks using something called erasure coding that makes it much, much, much more difficult for someone to compromise the smart contract. And so that trade-off would not be as painful. So you could have a smart contract that paid for its own execution and could get the equivalent security of running on hundreds of servers without having to pay hundreds of servers to run it. I think we were kind of way ahead of our time with that idea. And I think that what everybody who's tried to implement that has done is they've just put in their own native token. And part of that is because when you have your own native token, it does make some things easier. Like, for example, you can destroy it, you can create it, and that makes some of the economic modeling simpler. But also it's a way to monetize it. Like Codius, the way that you would monetize it would be by providing services to the ecosystem. There's no native token to monetize. And my thinking was that if we were the company that built most of Codius, people would by default probably just use our services. Like you need long-term data storage. Well, the one that your toolkit uses by default is operated by Ripple. And so other people would run other services, and you might use multiple services, but there would be no reason for you not to use ours because we would have a reputation that people would know about. Okay.
So then Mickey B. Fresh had put this down here. Look at this. It says screenshot from left to right from Codius main website 2015-2016 using the Wayback Machine. This screenshot is from the homepage of Codius website back then. Screenshot on the right side of Codius homepage presently. Proprietary tech. Flare was originally built on ILP. So this is apparently from 2015. Codius is used by Ripple Labs for banking and enterprise integrations. And then this is today. Codius applications can pay each other using any currency using Interledger. And then this is a page from this guy right here, Toby Norfolk, who is at Flare. Okay, and he was with Singularity Finance Egypt. Look down through his they're building a digital trade finance and payroll leading platform in Egypt. And then here, non-executive, he's an advisor, I guess, to Flare. Developing the Flare network, the smart contract platform for Ripple. I mean, look at the wording, it's right there, it's written right there. Developing the Flare network, the smart contract platform for Ripple, with scalable consensus and quantum proof encryption. Remember how many times that I've been called crazy? Oh, quantum computing, blah, 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 blah. You can't talk about quantum computing, that's 20 years out. Well, they're making their stuff quantum proof, I believe, for a reason. And that was what my theory was with the PhD. The chief scientist at Flare is a PhD in quantum computing. And that's the reason right there. You're looking at it. This thing is quantum proof is what they've created. Then this guy was at Barclays in structured credit trading. And there you go. Now, that's not so, to me, that's right there. I mean, they're right here, right here. Is that not saying Flare is Codius? I mean, so next, I wanted to show you this. So I was just looking around. U.S. Patent Office grants Ripple Labs patent for smart contract system that uses oracles. That's October 3rd, 2020. The patent presents, this was Stefan Thomas, and I believe, what's the other guy's name? I'll think of it in a second. But anyway, Stefan Thomas was also working on Codius system to rival Ethereum. Codius aimed at providing a bridge between XRP and other cryptocurrencies for data transactions. Unfortunately, Ripple abandoned the project, citing technical and fundamental difficulties. Later, Thomas also parted ways with Ripple to work with his own company, Coil. Now, after winning the patent, it's not sure if Ripple will bring this project back to life, or optimistically, Ripple might take this opportunity to create smart contract applications for now booming DeFi space. Ripple is already working out a way of using XRP with smart contracts. Last year, Ripple's investment arm, Spring, invested in Flare Networks. Flare CEO Hugo Filion said that the platform launch will happen this year, In this article, in the title of this article, it says, grants Ripple Labs patent for smart contract system that uses oracles. Well, that reminded me of this. This is, remember this Flare Finance company that's kind of piggybacking off of Flare? This is from XRP Crypto Wolf on March 6th. XRP ledger-based DeFi Flare Finance launches oracles. Now, I'm no techie guy, so I don't even know what an oracle means, to be honest. But words mean things. And Flare Finance revealed that its pioneering decentralized oracle network and signal service DeFi oracles will go live soon. And back then, Stefan Thomas got a patent for smart contract system that uses oracles. And in the same article, they're mentioning the launch of Flare and how Ripple's an investor in Flare. You do the math, folks. I'm doing the math. RizXRP sent me this from Stephen Bull Dieppe. According to an analysis from University of Cambridge, 65% mining power is from China. What do you think? And then RizXRP also sent me an interesting YouTube video. There's two clips I want to show you. One of them I added something else to, but I wanted you to put all this together. This is Lynette Zhang, I think Zhang, on YouTube. Listen to what she says.
Now, it certainly does look like Bitcoin is...
She's basically talking about how important gold is in this whole thing and how Bitcoin is not it. And then at the halfway mark, I clipped a Bloomberg video from a while back where they're talking about the one problem that gold has.
Now, it certainly does look like Bitcoin is going to survive this. But at the end of the day, when we get that inflation and they reset the current currency into the new currency, do you think they're going to reset it against Bitcoin or Tesla stock or even real estate? No. They reset it against gold money because it has the greatest functionality of any asset. It is used globally in every single area of the economy. And it's finite and it's indestructible. So we can account for pretty much all of the gold that has ever been mined. And there's more than 4,800 cases of currency resets, and 100% of the time they do it against gold.
With central bank stimulus weakening the dollar and gold being only about $100 short of its all-time high, a question has started to arise: can gold replace the US dollar as the world's reserve currency? The dollar has enjoyed this status for decades, but since it detached itself from the gold standard in 1971, it's essentially consistently weakened on a macro level. Confidence in the U.S. government and the political system in the U.S. is one of the keys, and gold doesn't have that issue of a loss of confidence. But what it does have is a problem with transportability. That's why it's more likely that a currency backed in gold, or even a digital asset backed in physical gold, could potentially replace the dollar much more easily than the actual physical bar of gold could.
Okay, and I said, what will solve gold's transportability problem? Not Bitcoin. It has a tough enough time transporting itself. This is true. Now, here's another clip from that same video that I wanted you to see from Lynette Zhang. And listen to what she says.
It makes sense. I mean, do we think it's gonna would it go to gold or Bitcoin? Yeah, I mean that's a good argument.
But look at Bitcoin in China. Were they not able to control Bitcoin? Yeah. Yeah. The answer is yes. Actually, right now, and with the rise of ESG and the green economy and these kinds of technologies use an awful lot of energy. They're not particularly green. So, you know, I'm not saying that the cryptocurrencies are going away, but if you look at the Bank for International Settlements Money Flower, which they publish regularly, the private cryptocurrencies have a teeny weeny space, so they'll allow it. Sure. But their CBDCs have a much larger space, and then physical gold and silver, so commodity money, has the biggest space that is universally accepted and peer-to-peer.
Ah.
Right?
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, you look at India. You think India's going to go to Bitcoin or gold?
You know, I mean, I really find it hard to believe that central banks that have been in control for over 100 years is going to go, yeah, we've had a good run. It's your turn now. Now,
That's been the whole point of this channel for a long time. Here is that BIS money flower that she's talking about. Here's the commodity money she's talking about. Here are central bank digital currencies at the very center of all of it. You'll see cryptocurrency permissioned DLT and then cryptocurrency permissionless DLT. Now I can tell you one thing. In all the conversations I've heard about Bitcoin, it's not ever referred to as DLT. It's referred to blockchain. What is referred to as DLT? XRP, XLM, some of these. Now, but this right here is at the center of it all. CBDCs, right? And who just happens to be helping in the creation of those? Ripple pilots a private ledger for central banks launching CBDCs. And then what I see is XRP bridging these CBDCs. That's where this is all going. And just to reiterate, the Bank for International Settlements researchers argue for collaboration to harness the potential of CBDCs, enhance cross-border payments. And then they've told you time and time again, the Bitcoin people do not want to listen, but these people hate Bitcoin, and they are not going to let Bitcoin, like she just said in that video, They're not going to say, hey, we've controlled the financial system for all these years, but now it's your turn. We're just going to hand it over to Bitcoin. And she made the point. People that say that Bitcoin can't be controlled, look at China. China's controlled Bitcoin pretty well. It can be controlled. It's just a matter of whether you want to accept it, the truth, because this guy's telling you in this article, this is BIS chief blast Bitcoin viability prompting blowback from advocates. This is Augustus Carstens. He's the head guy at the BIS, which is the central bank of central banks. He says, cast doubt on Bitcoin's long-term viability Wednesday, saying it was only a matter of time before a 51% attack brings down the world's original cryptocurrency. Carsten comments, which he delivered to the Hoover Institute, underscored his belief that Bitcoin fails as a currency, a medium of exchange, and a value storage mechanism, working only as a speculative asset and seldom as money. He also issued a dire warning to would-be Bitcoin investors. The center cannot hold. Above all, investors must be cognizant that Bitcoin may well break down altogether. Scarcity and cryptography alone do not suffice to guarantee exchange. And then he says, the sad side effect of Bitcoin's monstrous electricity dependence, which he said as high as Switzerland's, where the BIS is based, Bitcoin's proof-of-work mechanism currently burns through reams of energy. Carsten blasted what he framed as the inevitable systems failure hard-coded into Bitcoin's 21 million issuance cap. Fewer coins getting minted means fewer miners processing transactions, he said, and confirmation wait times will go up. So too will Bitcoin's vulnerability to a majority attack. So clearly, if digital money is to exist, the central bank must play a pivotal role, guaranteeing the stability of value, ensuring the elasticity of the aggregate supply of the money, and overseeing the overall security of the system, he said. Bitcoiners just go crazy about this. They're telling you, they've told you over and over. Yellen's told you, Lagarde's told you, he's telling you. These are the people that run the financial world. And anyone who is ignoring this stuff is out of their mind. Bitcoin has been very good for what it's for the idea of getting people acclimated to being involved in digital currency. I believe that's what it was intended for all along, because I don't believe it was created by some guy in his bathrobe. I think Satoshi Nakamoto, or governments who wanted to usher in the digital system, but they know Bitcoin's not the one. They know Ethereum's not the one either, at least proof of work. Proof of work does not work. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family it is not Bitcoin. It was never Bitcoin. And if you want the truth, keep coming to this channel, because I will tell you the truth about what Bitcoin is and what it is not. And it is not the one, nor was it ever the one. Thank you for listening.